Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment and welcome to the monthly money race for Fast Fridays. Tonight's broadcast is, of course, being brought to you tonight here on Maconi Entertainment, here to bring all of the action to life. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Marty Zakala, and in the virtual production hauler, serving as our producer, we have Howie Burrows. Tonight, we've got a bull ring race with some brand new race cars. The brand new scan of Bristol with the brand new ARCA cars for this season. These drivers are in for a good one, but they've got challenge on their hands tonight. 100 laps of racing action set to come at you thick and fast here tonight here on Maconi, and these drivers racing for some pretty good prizes as well. A customized 1 meter tall trophy and $150 in cold hard cash. But Marty, we got some great racing action to look forward to. 100 laps here at this bull ring with these brand new ARCA cars. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to it.
I am too, especially with a brand new ARCA car. You know, it's taken us a couple years to finally get this ARCA car here into iRace, and we have them at no place but Bristol, baby. A half-mile track, you know, high side bankings. It's like, I always consider going around Bristol like you're going around a toilet bowl, but we'll leave that for another time. But I think you're going to see both the low side, the high side be used here tonight. It's really all about keeping momentum here at this track. If not, you're going to be fading back a lot.
I think another important thing that these drivers will have to keep in mind is remaining patient. In a race like this, where you do have some pretty good prizes on offer, it's super important to just try and be there at the end. 100 laps, it may not seem, well, no, I say it may not seem like a lot. That's a pretty decent amount. Around a track like this, those 100 laps, though, can go by in the blink of an eye, but these drivers need to realize that there is a whole lot of racing action for them this evening, and a whole lot of spots to try and get tripped up. It's going to be a tough one for these drivers for sure. It's going to be a battle at the last great Coliseum without a question or shadow of a doubt. Just brought to an end the qualifying session. Still got warm up though, so we got a chance to see some of these cars out there on the racetrack and see some nice looking paint schemes up and down the grid as well. But this is going to be a rather intimidating race, I have to feel. There's always such an intimidating aura surrounding Bristol, and then when you got some good prizes on offer as well, you can kind of crank that intimidation up another notch.
You need to respect Bristol, or else Bristol will treat you horribly. You'll be in for a rough night. You have to treat Bristol like you mentioned, Ron. You gotta have a lot of patience to this racetrack. You gotta beware of the outside, because that wall can come at you quickly off of turn 2 and turn number 4. You don't want to hit the apron one bit. You got to respect the track here completely. It's kind of like you go to Dover or the Monster Mire, which I consider Bristol on steroids. You got to respect this short track.
Yeah, I like the comparison to Dover. I can't remember the last time I did a broadcast at Dover. I think it was NASCAR trucks action with a different series, and holy cow, Dover kind of my home track. I basically have two hometown tracks. I kind of count that and Pocono in the same category. I think Dover's actually a little bit closer to where I am in the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, or as we like to call it here in the city of brotherly shove. But still got a couple of minutes left to go in this warm-up session. These drivers looking to get their bearings straight. A packed field of racers as well, which I think is going to... It's all the stuff we talked about thus far, the chaos that could be expected, the intimidation factor as well. All that gets cranked up even more when you realize the amount of cars out here on the track, as I think that just proved it a couple of moments ago.
Yeah, again, got to be patient here. Drivers just trying to figure out the track here, figure out their limits, whether it be racing solo or racing side by side with each other. I love watching this track in person. I've been here, I think I've been here 3 or 4 times to Bristol Motor Speedway, and let me tell you something. It is a bucket list track to go to. You see the drivers here on track, and a good idea. And I think you see a lot of drivers run the low line. I think we may see that early. Then drivers may try and see where else they can maybe fit their marks.
And just a quick little update in terms of how the lap times are looking at the moment in this warm-up session. Still 2 minutes left to go. It's Dean Brummett, who's currently the quickest in the number 8 machine. So let's see how that will shake out in this race that we have coming up. Again, 100 laps long. These drivers have one faster pair at their disposal, which is going to be rather interesting. But speaking of interesting, and some rather exciting news coming here in the Maconi world, it's relating to our bossman himself, Mr. Jeff Maconi, who landed himself an ARCA ride at I believe it's going to be at Nashville later on this year. Don't completely quote me on that. But Jeff got the chance to run in some ARCA machinery here tonight, and gonna get the chance to run some real life ARCA race cars in the not too far off future. I believe, hearing from our producer, Mr. Burrows, this is maybe the paint scheme that Jeff is running in real life come time for that race. A nice little bit of circularity here.
I'm glad, based off what we've been hearing about the Nashville Fairgrounds, it's great to hear that Jeff will be racing at the track in person. Although I think the reason why we are in ARCA over mini stocks, which you and I were joking around with, is because Jeff needs some practice with these cars before he takes the track in real life. I don't know if him and Brayton are going to go at it or not, but who knows? We'll be rooting on both.
Yeah, certainly going to be rooting on both of them. Obviously, Jeff, our boss here at Maconi Entertainment, and Brain Lester, a great guy and one of the commentators here on Maconi Entertainment. And speaking of some of the other commentators we got out there, we were following him a couple of moments ago. Mr. Jeremy Briggs out there on the racetrack, and Marty, kind of nice to see him out there on the racetrack. To those of you who may not have seen another series here on Maconi Entertainment some months ago, the Goat Locker Racing series that you can catch on Wednesday nights here on Maconi Entertainment, Jeremy and I used to commentate that series in the other rather early days with Marty working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler. So pretty nice to see Jeremy out there. It's like the old Goat Locker squad is back after all this time.
Yeah, Jeremy's still with us, I believe, on Wednesday nights. I had to take a month break because of some PC issues I was having. But, hey, good news. For those of you that follow GLR on Wednesday nights, I got a new PC, so we'll be back in the producer's chair soon. I don't think it's going to be this week, but we'll be soon.
Yeah, back up and rolling in the not too far off future. And speaking of the not too far off future, we got the race start coming up in the not too far off future. And I think with that being said, let's take a look at this starting grid. It's going to be Levi Cox in the number 54 machine starting this race from the pole. Dean Brummett going to join him on the front row. Looking right behind them, we've got Michael Curran in the number 22 machine next to Connor Burrows in the number 19. Starting right behind them on the third rows, Andrew Kiernan in the 06 and Curtis Kelly in the number 40. Looking right behind them, we've got the 7th place starter of Cole Polkin and Brandon Combs rounding out your top 8, completing your 4th row in the process. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be the boss man himself, Mr. Jeffrey Maconi, and Matthew C. White in the number 53 machine. Looking at the cars right behind them and outside of the top 10, it starts with Jacob Yoder in the number 52 machine starting at 11th, and Jeremy Briggs, as we were mentioning him a couple of moments ago, will start in at 12th. And P13, it's Alex Wiggins, and P14, it's Dole Bowen in the number 45 car. Starting right behind them, we've got Jake Dofing in the 26 machine starting in 15th, and Braxton DeWeese in the 20 starting in 16th. Looking right behind them, we have Kerry Pasuto and Taylor Alto. Right behind those drivers completing out your top 20 in this starting grid, we have James Polowski and William Carr in the second, and we're going to have to go burn through this. Nick King in the 20, starting in 21st, Brad Lane right alongside Eric Thomas and Pat Farrow starting in 23rd and 24th. We'll have to burn through the rest of these. We got this race start coming up in a couple of moments' time. You can see the rest of the starters on screen right now as we go through them. A massive field of race cars set to get this 100-lap race underway in the not too far off future. Some pretty nice looking paint schemes as well. And I think we actually have an extra pace lap, so I may have created a bit more panic than usual. But hey, we managed to look at all of the starters and we could see this field pacing their way around this racetrack. Marty, one word to describe something that's going to catch these drivers at the most tonight.
One word to describe what will catch these drivers at the most tonight. And the driver in front of you, I would have to say, it's very easy to bump your driver, move them out of the way, even turn them at some point. But again, like you mentioned earlier, Ron, you got to have a lot of patience at Bristol Motor Speedway if you want a chance at winning it. You want that clean air, that's your best friend. But again, you got to respect the driver and you got to respect the track at the same time.
A warrior's greatest virtue can be his patience, and here at Bristol, I think that is going to ring true here tonight. Delighted all of you can join us here on Maconi Entertainment this evening for the Fast Friday Monthly Money Race. The green flag is at, and the drivers are on their way. Let's see how they deal with these first couple of laps. That pace car, that's the only tame car in the entirety of this field as they had their way off through 3 and 4 for the first time. The bull ring, we're going to see those laps go by in the blink of an eye. Some smoke coming up a little bit farther in the back. I think someone had a blink at. They have to worry about some connection issues as well. Of course, with this brand new season of iRacing, they're bringing out a feature where if you run into some connection issues, they're just going to yoink you out of the race and put you in your own test session. But as it stands currently, it's been a clean start to the race, and for Levi Cox, he still leads in the 54 machine.
Cox having a good start. Top 3 drivers all single file. Boris and Pocken, they're door-to-door for position number 4 on the racetrack, I believe. And that's going to be correction. That's Pocken and Kiernan as the 17 gets the advantage. He moves up to 5th. Now you've got the 8, I believe, of Brummett trying to look downstairs for the lead. Yellow lights are on.
Yeah, caution out, and that's the reason why a lot of drama heading off through, I believe that was 3 and 4. You can see the 44 machine up against the wall in all of that. Not entirely sure who that is in that race car who's had that moment, and trying to discern who else was involved in that collision. More drama. Okay, my apologies. That was actually the other replay there. Sorry, I thought someone just got wrecked under yellow, but no, that was not the case. You can see multiple cars scattered around the racetrack. Body parts flying from these race cars. Thankfully not flying from the drivers, though.
Yeah, 16 machine was the first driver to take a big impact there. 44, Aiden Oxidine, nowhere to go. Let's see who else was involved. That's Mike Rimkus in the background that just came to a slow stop here. Take a look at another angle. Watch the 9 of Pizzuto, I believe.
Yeah, that was just a messy incident, but it's the sort of stuff that you expect at Bristol. As we could see that horrible impact there heading off through into 3 and 4. It's a usual Bristol affair, though. You're going to see incidents like that happen all throughout tonight. It's a self-clearing track, this.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of stack-ups when there's a wreck that's going on into the entrance of a corner. There's going to be a lot of drivers checking up, and that's when it likely is going to get ugly because this track will just sweep you alive.
And just want to say I apologize if there was a it sounded like a croak come out of me there. My apologies, folks, if that got caught up on the microphone. But we got some pit stops going on as it stands currently.
Yeah, I think these are the drivers that are repairing.
Yeah, that may be it. Lots of drivers got a piece of that incident.
Single pit road, by the way, here at Bristol Motor Speedway. No double pit road, but obviously we're under the caution flag. Many of you probably know, but those who don't, Bristol, very unique. Under yellow flag, normally in the Cup Series, you got to enter in turn 2, exit in turn 1. However, though, when it's under green flag, and if it's on iRacing dual pit stalls, you can go in whichever straightaway you are lined up as. Lights are off. We've racked them and stacked them once again, Ron.
Yeah, set to get this race restarted in a couple of moments' time. Already 8 laps on the board in this 100-lap-long race, and it's going to fly by. There is no doubt about that. 3 green-white checkers. Try saying that 5 times fast. Allotted to these racers, and may end up seeing those get used without a question or shadow of a doubt. But that pace car making the turn to come down pit lane. The field now back in the hands of our front row sitters, and Levi Cox getting off to another flyer, jumping immediately into the race lead. Dean Brummett in the 8 machine, slipping in right in tow. Some side-by-side racing going on all throughout this pack as these drivers try and dice and claw and scrape for every single position that they can.
Boris trying to look around the outside for third. Look at him lean against the wall as the yellow lights are on for the second time tonight.
And there's been another incident for these racers trying to figure out who it may have been that got involved in some drama. Certainly these restarts, it's going to be like walking around a minefield for these drivers without a question or shadow of a doubt. Many opportunities have some sort of contact that may arise, and an ill-fated trip into the barrier.
Watch Eric Thomas here in the 96, I believe. We didn't see him on our live pictures. This is on a replay. He touched the apron. I think this may be what gets him sideways.
Yep.
Yeah, left front below the yellow line. And with the way the banking changes as it goes from the exit to the straight, it's just going to mess your car up. Back end just goes around.
Yep, and a simple moment like that can really mess up your races, which you saw a couple of moments ago. But it's been a rather hectic start to this race. 11 laps on the board at the moment. Yellow flag laps will count in this race. And going to see these drivers pace around under the yellow flag. And when it comes to these early yellows, you got to start to wonder what it may do in terms of these drivers' psyche. Obviously, a race at Bristol, they're probably expecting it to be broken up by yellows, but for it to be this broken up in the early stages kind of prevents you to get in a sort of groove.
Yeah, it really definitely messes you up here, especially at Bristol Motor Speedway. You know the saying here, Ron, cautions breed cautions. That could easily come to play on iRacing and just goes to a whole different level. That's what we're seeing early. Drivers need to get a long run here, get into a rhythm, and get accustomed to the car right now. But remember, drivers are on cold tires here at the moment at the same time, so it can be tough. You've got to take it really nice and easy here in the opening laps.
And I'm not sure if these drivers know what taking it light and easy is, if I'm being completely honest. But that pace car making the turn to come back down pit lane. The green flag is out yet again. And for the third time, Levi Cox getting off to a flyer of a start. He's going to be leading them comfortably, heading off through 1 and 2 right now. Some side-by-side racing, fanning out some drivers scraping the barrier as well. Clearly wanting to shave a little bit of metal off of both their race cars and the safer barrier on the outside of turn number 2. These drivers completing the 13th lap now. Lucky number lap 13. And let's see if it's going to catch any of these drivers' hats.
Boris was able to clear Curhan around the outside, take away the third position. You see on your screen Curtis Kelly battling with Jeff Maconi. We got one in the wall off at turn 4. Front bumper is gone. Yellow flag back out. That's
and that
Nick
right
King
there, I believe.
47.
Yeah, Nick King and the 47 machine. Clearly, that car is looking roughed up. He's going to have to come down pit lane to repair that car. That was a sickening impact into the outside wall coming through turn number 4. Let's take a look at it in this Ryan Blaney-inspired paint scheme. Getting a bit of a hip check there from Jeremy. Heading off, that was through 1 and 2 right there. Now down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Yeah, he definitely had some assistance without question or shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, that's Alex Wiggins in the 31 who just yeeted him out of the way. That's the Bristol bump. That's the Bristol dumping run, I should say, for right now. But again, way too early to be throwing bumpers at these guys. Obviously, drivers just making some mistakes here, but got to be a lot more careful, especially this early in the race if you want to have a car still alive. Remember, one quick repair in this race tonight. You don't want to be using it this early at a track like Bristol.
And that's the thing when it comes to these drivers. They need to realize and kind of prevent themselves from getting involved in too much drama. There's only a certain amount that an iRacing mechanic, there's only a certain amount of Red Bull that an iRacing mechanic can consume. And clearly that has been limited. Only one fast repair allotted to these drivers. And it being Bristol, I feel like the driver who wins this race is probably going to be the only one in the field who doesn't have to use that fast repair. But who knows? Could be a bit more hectic than that. We may see the entire field coming in to fix their cars.
Yeah, unless you're the ones up in front that are keeping it clean, you don't have to come into pit road right now. This should be a race. Speaking of pit stops, now that you mentioned it, I don't think drivers are going to really want to be taking tires unless we get a long green flag run and then the yellow flag flies out. You're definitely going to be wanting 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
Another thing to raise, talking about some of these drivers and their comfort in their race cars at the present moment, considering we haven't had a green flag run any longer than about 6 laps, these drivers don't really know how their race cars are driving at the present moment. So it's going to be a learning curve every single time they try and get a green flag run going. And who knows, you may not even get the opportunity to know how your car is feeling. We'll just never know in this race. But that pace car back down pit lane, the green flag back out. And let's see how this restart goes. We're slowly whittling those laps away, but I think these drivers are getting a little bit desperate to get a green flag run going. Levi Cox getting off to another good restart. Dean Bremett right behind him in the number 8 machine, that Dale Jr. inspired livery. Or paint scheme, I should say. I feel like my terminology from some of the other iRacing broadcasts that I do seeping into this one. That's a very nice looking paint scheme there and a very fast looking race car as he's looking on the high side to try and get a move done on Levi Cox. Ooh, look at that. not threading the needle between Cox and the wall heading down the start-finish straightaway. Let's see if he can get that move done in the 8 car. That was Connor Burrows in the 19 car that just scraped the barrier a little bit. He and Michael Curran were briefly side by side, and still side by side between Brummett and Cox. Looks like he's going to try and get a move done on the high side and may be successful.
And the yellow flag comes out at the perfect time for him. He'll be the leader. Not too sure for what. See the 31 off the pace in Wiggins. Nope, we got it right here. That's the 425 of Mike Rimkus. Now, remember here as well, Ron, Brummett was looking for that lead, was side by side before the first yellow came out. Here's the replay. Watch Thomas, I believe, with the 96, if we have something from him. He's on pit road, so I think we do have something off of him. Oh, it happens in front of him. So all looks good. That 1 car caught the wall. He got yeeted from behind. The 12 car caught him and just led to a melee.
Oh, and I think the melees are continuing. I'm not sure if my voice is going at the present moment. I think my screen just completely froze here, so this may be a slight bit of an issue. We were talking about the technical issues earlier on, Marty, and I may be dipping out of the not too far off future. So I will pass it back off to you as my computer tries to resolve itself.
Well, like I said earlier, Dean Brummett was looking for the lead before that first caution flag came out. They were side by side at one point. Yellow just came at the bad time here, and then was able to pass up on that second groove around the outside of Cox and take the race lead away. See a couple of drivers on pit road. That 12 car, by the way, that's actually Nick King. His iRacing number is the 47, had the wrong livery on it. So set to come back to green. Dean Brummett, Levi Cox, row 1. The 8 selects the outside. You've got Connor Boris, Michael Curran, row 2. Jeff Maconi, Cole Palkin, row 3. Curtis Kelly, Andrew Kiernan, row 4. Jake Dauphin and Jacob Yoder round out the top 10. Ron, you good to go?
Yep, I think I am good to go right now. Just had to switch out of my browser into iRacing and then back into my browser because it was completely frozen. I was a little bit worried there for a second. I think I should know better with my PC. If I'm having a PC issue, you'll probably be able to hear it on the microphone. My computer will start to sound like a plane taking off. But nevertheless, these drivers taken to the green. And unlike the past few times where it's been Levi Cox leading us to green, it's Dean Brummett at the front of the field in that number 8 car and getting off to a flyer of a restart on the outside. He's going to be leading them. Levi Cox running in second. Curran and Boris side by side for the final podium spot. That's going to be some close quarter stuff. It looks like Connor Burris going to get that move done in that number 19 machine. As they also have to deal with a little bit of lap traffic further up the road. Not sure who that is. A little bit slower in front of these race leaders. Clearly with damage, though, as the front bumper has been ripped off that car and probably sold on eBay at this point.
I think that's Rimkus in the... Actually lost the number there for just a moment, but drivers side by side all around. That's the Taylor Alto in the 33 trying to go around the outside. That's the battle for 11th against Braxton Deweese. Jeremy Briggs up there as well in that 48. And yeah, that is Rimkus in the number 425 last car on the lead lap. But we're door to door once again. Cox trying to get a run underneath and it just doesn't work. Now they crisscross. The 54 tries to get the run to the outside, but he diamonds in 1 and 2.
And look at that, the side-by-side racing maybe going to flare up yet again between these two drivers. They've been having a ding-dong battle, so to speak, ever since the drop of the green flag. Is a ding-dong battle going on right behind, loving Jeff Maconi and Cole Palkin. That's heading off now into turn number 3 and 4. Look at Maconi in that number 4 machine on the outside line, currently running in 5th. He's able to clear him. One thing that we have yet to see, considering we haven't had too big of a green flag run, really this one that we're in right now is the longest we've had thus far in this race. Starting to see these drivers experiment with where they want to position their race cars, whether they want to hug the apron, run the wall, or kind of run a half and half chimera abomination of the two.
Yeah, oh, trouble. The 5 car goes around. That's Deweese as he takes a couple of hits there in 1 and 2. And takes another one upside down. ARCA brakes coming here in the ARCA race.
That was a big one popping up into the air. Let's take a look at it from Braxton Deweese's perspective in that 5 car. Heading his way off. That's through turn number 1 and 2. Gets through there scot-free. That's a 3 and 4. This may have been when the drama first brewed. That's a 52 running wide. Deweese gets turned into the outside wall, and he got hit twice. He nearly ballparked it there. That was a big one for Braxton.
And
he got hit again and flipped.
Yeah, that's Ryan that doored him there on the side. Yoder was the first car in that purple 52 that caught the number 5. Take a look here from our live standpoint, but yeah, turns 1 and 2 right now at the moment here, Ron. That is Calamity Corner.
Oh, without a question or shadow of a doubt. I mean, even on these restarts, 3 and 4 has been the site of most of the shiitake mushroom show incidents that we've had thus far. There's a nice little bit of phraseology for you on this broadcast, but that was a huge one for DeWeese. That 20 car getting popped up pretty much at the low Earth orbit, flipping as well. First flip that we've had of this batch of monthly money races. Even then, for the last one with the NASCAR trucks at Atlanta, we did not have a flip of the sorts, albeit just for clarity's sakes, it was the non-super speedway version of Atlanta. It was a 2008 version, but still, seeing a flip here in the ARCA cars at Bristol, it shows you that as much as it may be Bowman Gray Stadium that has that moniker, Bristol could be a madhouse too.
Hey, that's just physics for you there, Ron. Just had so much enough force to put that car airborne and just shift it onto the other side and flip that thing over thanks to gravity. I believe the lights are off here once again.
Yeah, I think we're going to get this race restarted in a couple of moments on. The light's still on, but I think these drivers are re-racking it and getting ready to get this race back underway. And just touching back on the other... Hang on, actually, is there to... I'm looking through. Is there a screen deceiving us potentially? There's Levi Cox have a missing front bumper.
Yeah, I'm seeing Cox with a missing front bumper too, although I am not on iRace, and I'm looking at the live feed. Sometimes you see an iRace in it when you have the early releases on the first week or so, not week 13, but like the first week or so. You may sometimes see those graphic bugs from time to time. I think the splitter is still on the 54 though, so I think he is good, but you know, I have seen cars run without front wings in sprint car racing, and they've gone on to win races, so I'm not sure how this is going to work here.
Well, at least overheating won't be an issue for him. The green flag back at the drivers are back on their way. Not a good restart for Levi Cox in that number 54 car. He's now going to get chewed up and spat out by the 22 car of Curran, heading off through 3 and 4. Curran in the 22 machine able to clear him, and now Levi Cox is going to have a bit of pressure on his hands with Curtis Kelly, but the yellow flag back out. They've had another moment heading off through 3 and 4. Looking at some of the cars involved in that, I think Andrew Kernan, who we're following right now, may have gotten a piece of that action, and Jake Doofing may have gotten a piece of that as well. And Aiden Oxstein also running into some difficulties, as I believe he's towed back to the pits. As let's take a look to see this drama heading off through Calamity Corner.
Yeah, it's about mid-pack to the back. Just driver stacking up. 33 gets turned. Watch the 06 of Kieran just have nowhere to go, mind his own business around the outside. And a tough break there as Taylor Alto was the first to get turned.
Yeah, that was just a typical restart drama with the field packed in like sardines. Gonna see stuff like that happen all throughout tonight, and we've already seen it happen in the 40 laps of this race that we've had thus far. 100 laps for these drivers, and for some of them in the mid-pack, we've talked about this a lot. These drivers have a faster pair at their disposal, but it's only one faster pair, so we're rapidly approaching the point where some of these drivers already having those faster pairs are going to spend a lot of time down in pit lane having to beat the fenders off these race cars to get them back into shape.
But again, yeah, you don't want to be using that quick repair quite early here in this contest. So at Bristol, because again, this is right now this is a demolition derby, and you want to try and survive here, and just not working out for the drivers mid to back of the pack.
And you can see one of those cars stopped in pit lane right now, having to repair the damage. It's that's going to be a familiar sight, I'm pretty sure, all throughout the rest of tonight. Going to see a lot of cars down in pit lane looking to repair the damage as best as possible, but We may end up seeing a situation like the Busch Clash a couple of years ago when Eric Jones won it with a car ready for the dumpster, but ready to get this race back underway. It's another good restart for the leader, Dean Brummett, in that number 8 car, clearly proving that being the leader on these restarts is definitely the good spot to find yourself in. Worked earlier on for Levi Cox, has worked out for the 8 car ever since he was able to grab the lead a matter of, about 20-ish laps ago. Jeff Maconi's still on the hard charge, just got moved on Levi Cox. Yeah, 1-point race leader. That 54 car is dropping down like a rock. He's not completely sinking through the field, but clearly that 54 car not as strong as it was before. And I'm curious as to whether or not that's because of the damage on that race car or whether he's just uncomfortable running in the draft and running in the toe of the cars.
Yeah, I'm not too sure with Cox. That front bumper may actually be something that happened to him, but I'm not too sure. But he's faded a lot. Curran, the highest he's been in this race, up to second. Same with Kelly and Jeff Maconi up there in the 4th spot, trying to get past that number 40/78.
And let's see how the side-by-side racing works out between these two. Oh, so close to making contact. Heading off through turns number 1 and 2 right now. These drivers making sure there isn't a dull moment all throughout this field. Dean Brummett still in the race lead, actually extending that gap to himself and Michael Curran in the 22 car. Look at that, though, the dive heading down into the corner. That's a number 17 car. Actually, looking through, yes, that is. That's Cole
Great
Hawkin.
send by him.
That was a beautiful send.
Absolutely. Send it in deep. Probably the deepest we've seen it this early here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and was able to make it work. He's up to 4th. I wonder if he maybe saved his tires a little bit early on here in the going. I know we've had a medium run or two in this one, then the rest have been pretty much short runs. He's trying once again on that 40 of Kelly for 3rd. Just so good on corner exit. He's been able to get a better drive on the exits of these corners.
And this is a very important stage of this race as well, considering we're back into one of these longer green flag runs. I can't say long just yet, but still, it's looking good for the number 17 of Cole Palkin, trying to get that move done on Curtis Kelly. They're still side by side, heading off through turns number 3 and 4 right now, unable to clear him on the outside line. The 40 car with that beautiful, nice throwback paint scheme there to Martin Truex in the old Furniture Row racing days. And currently holding his own on the outside line, getting those better runs coming out of the corner, and contact being made coming out of turn number 4. Mega sideways there from Cole Palkin. He was slideways, and he was able to hold on to it, but now he's fallen back into the Dragon's Den. He's now got Brandon Combs and Jeff Maconi are side by side right behind him, trying to get some moves done, and Curtis Kelly was able to shake off that challenge from the 17.
Yeah, Combs having a good run at the moment so far, trying to come back after he faded just a little bit early on. Nope, excuse me, I was thinking of the 19 of Boris there. Sorry, some of these numbers a little bit off here, but Palkin's got to rebound it. If he gets past Curran for 2nd, I would start to be concerned if I'm Dean Brummett.
And I'm real curious how this current stage of the race is going to affect it, because we're starting to see Dean Brummett still pull that lead, and we're starting to see Cole Palkin try and challenge Michael Curran for 2nd, whereas we thought that he was kind of down for the count and was going to get swallowed back into the Dragon's Den. Now finds himself giving us a good battle to talk about right towards the north end of this field. They're close coming out of the corner, but not close enough to go side by side. Meanwhile, behind them, it is a Hornet's Nest. You've got Curtis Kelly in that 78 car, marked as 40 on our screens. Connor Boris in that Jeff Gordon Exalta Rainbow Warriors car. Also got the 28 involved in all that. That's Brandon Combs. And Jeff Maconi still involved in that. These drivers battling for P4 at the moment, dipping all the way back down to 7th. And some close quarter stuff heading through this race.
5 cars, too, if you include Kerry Pasuto and that Monster Energy number 9. He is up there trying to get past both Maconi and Brandon Combs. But Palkin, it looks like right now at the moment, he may be, Kelly may be slowing these drivers up just a little bit, allowing the top 2 to pull away. There's a look at the 54 of Cox as he has continued to drop down the leaderboard ever since we've noticed that issue with the front bumper. Here's the side-by-side battle, though, for 4th spot, Kelly against Boris.
Sinking down like an anvil pushed out of a helicopter, I think would be the best way to describe it. Nearly coming to blows, coming out of the corner. That right there was Jeff Maconi and Brandon Combs nearly coming to blows. Actually, no, that was Jeff Maconi and I believe that was Connor Burris coming out of the corner a couple of moments ago. Very close as well coming out of it. These drivers giving us a real good battle to talk about as we have now passed the halfway mark, 61 laps on the board. But with these drivers getting oh so close to each other, I think they're tired of this green flag run. I think they want that yellow to come back out again, considering how close they're getting to each other.
Yeah, it looked like for a moment Kelly was about to take out Maconi there. Combs trying to get a run around the outside. Banking working to his advantage. He looks low. Maconi blocks that move. Nice defense from him. And now this also allows the 19 of Boris to start to pull away with under 40 laps to go. If you're noticing as well here, by the way, Ron, that gap between Brumman and Curhan dropped down. It was at 1.3 seconds at a time. It's now down to 9/10. So I think we know the best car is on track.
Yeah, and I wonder if Dean Kern has maybe overcooked the tires a tiny bit in that number 8 machine. Let's see how it's going to shake out. These drivers may be considering coming in for some fresh new Goodyears on their race cars. So that may be something we have to talk about between now and the end of this race. And actually, just thinking of it, on iRacing, they're running General tires, aren't they?
Yes, it is General tires. I remember when it used to be Hoosier back in the day. You're good. I said Goodyear earlier. Oh! We had one sideways, too. And that...
Oh, that's Curtis Kelly in the number 40 car with that Furniture Row Tribute scheme. He was oh so sideways not terribly long ago. He's dropped out of that battle. Was running in third at his highest, and he's now dropped all the way back down. He's behind the likes of Jeremy Briggs, Levi Cox. He finds himself in 14th at the present moment. That's a terrible turn of fortune for him. But back at the front of the field, it's closing between Brummett and Curran, and just rounding up the points. I used to run Hoosiers on my own real-life race cars. I may be a little bit biased. Would love to see Hoosier come back to some stock car racing, but still, regardless of what kind of tires are on these machines, I think the tires are starting to fall off pretty bad for some of these racers.
Hey, they're a dirt track company, so as a guy that announces sprint cars for a living, I completely approve of it. But yeah, this is the longest run we see. If we get a caution here, not with under 10 laps to go, everyone's going to come in. If we get under 10 laps to go, then that's where the game starts to begin if you stay out or do you pit.
And that is a real good question. Will these drivers consider coming in for some green flag pit stops in the final 31 laps of this race? And if we do have another yellow, how's it going to shake out then? A lot of stuff left at stakes in this race. We'll also note as well, despite the other earlier carnage, we still have 15 cars on the lead lap. Eric Thomas in the number 96 machine, the last car on the lead lap currently, as Reza said that he gets moved on Jake Dolphin. So we've got good battles to talk about all throughout this field, but one that is certainly flaring up is a one at the north end of the field. They're having to deal with the 1-point race leader who's dropped down like a falling anvil. That's the number 54 car that they just had to deal with there. That is some that's a kick in the shins if ever you see it. Actually, no, that's not a I was going to say that was a battle between some lap-down cars. Currently, Levi Coxo still not ideal.
Here we
Finds
go.
himself in 11th at the present moment. Here we go at the front of the field. Curran has reeled him in, and now side by side, coming out of turn at number 1 and 2 into 3 and 4 right now. Curran in that 22 machine, holding on to the inside line. The 8 of Brummett looking to hold his own on the high line, but I think the tires have fallen off just a bit too much in that 8 machine for him to be able to do it. Splitting the difference with a lapped car. Holy cow. Bravery from both of these drivers. They're seeing that checkered flag come out in the not too far off future. Only 25 laps to go in this race, and they're bringing the thunder.
Yeah, if it weren't for that lap car, I think the 22 would have had the lead, but Paulkin's starting to try close in on this gap too. He's at 0.6 of a second behind the race leader. I feel like though Curhan so good off of turn number 2. He's able to fire off and get some good bite. A lot better than the 8 is on the outside off turn 2. You even see, he just gripped the wall there off the quarter. That's the leader. You saw the paint scuffs on that quarter panel. Could that be slowing him up too? 23 to go.
Yeah, only 23 laps of racing action left for these drivers, and it's going to be a 23 laps that feel like they're going to be in a pressure cooker without a question or shadow of a doubt. These drivers under pressure, and I will say, if they go side by side for a little bit longer, look in the back of shot. That's a number 17 car of Cole Palkin. He's reeled these drivers in. It's now about a 0.6 of a second gap between him and Michael Curran, as we're seeing Levi Cox come down pit lane. I think he also picked up a speeding penalty, but the caution flag coming out.
Now this is going to make things interesting. With 21 laps to go, do you pit or do you stay out? If you pit, you without question you're taking 4 General tires. Here's a look at the replay. This is the 5 car, who remember just went a lap down earlier. And oh, did he get the attenuator? Nope. Oh, I think he just simply got to a stop, and iRacing didn't realize he was below the apron. Typically, that's normally a no caution situation, but I guess iRacing thought he was still on the track. Let's get another look at this.
I wonder if he was trying to come into pit lane.
It could have been that too at the same time. But the thing is, remember, it's a single pit road, so because of that, you have to come off turn number 2, and I think that's what he was trying to do here at the same time.
Yeah, you could see him dealing with some of the traffic. I was worried that we were going to see a repeat of someone doing a Quinn Half at Texas in 2020, but that's not what we got. Instead, we had that, and we have all these drivers deciding that now is the time to pit with only 20 laps left to go in this race. Those General tires going to get swapped out for a brand new pair, and let's see who's going to be the first to come out of the pit. That's a penalty for Curtis Kelly, end of the longest line. That's going to take him even more so out of contention. That 40 car could have been battling for the lead. Instead, he's going to be battling to remain on the lead lap. But as these cars go up on the jacks, who's going to be the first to exit out? It's going to be the 22 car. He took 2 tires. That's a brave call.
That is a gamble of a call. Will 2 beat 4? I'm not too sure, though. You're looking at some of the pit stop times. Luis also went for 2 tires, too. So your top 2 drivers took 2. Everyone else did 4. The highest is Brummett in 3rd, taking 4 tires. So the game is on here, as we should have the restart with just about 17, 16 laps to go.
And that is going to give us a whole lot of spice to try and ingest at the end of this race. How's it going to work out for Curran? My apologies there. Not sure what happened to my voice. I apologize to any dogs who I noted with my high-pitched squeak there a couple of moments ago. But I'm curious how this is going to work out with Brummett and this call. Because, I mean, Brummett obviously taking 4... Curran taking 2. That's going to create a rather big disparity between these two on the front row. Coming to take this restart in a couple of moments' time.
Oh, here's what I think real quick, Ron. The 20 is in the sucker hole because he's restarting 2nd, and the 22 gets the right to fire first. This is a good opportunity here for the 5 to pounce possibly.
Yeah, and let's see Braxton Deweese in that race car. At one point, he was upside down, but now finds himself in 3rd for this restart. Is it the last? Let's wait and see. At the front of the field, though, Curran right behind them, though, spinning into the inside barrier. Multiple cars getting taken out and all that. That's Cole Palkin involved in all of that. Pat Faro got a piece of that action along with Andrew Kiernan. But that's a big moment for the 17 car. We thought that it was going to be in contention for the race win, but got caught up in some tough stuff coming out of turn number 2.
He had such a good long run car. I don't know. I think he may have missed his shift there on the restart, which forced the high side. Comes behind there to stack up, and then you see off at turn number 2. He catches the wall, and then Kiernan, unfortunately with nowhere to go, goes around alongside of the accident. But now the laps start to tick down once again. And again, Kiernan on 2 tires. Brummett is on 4. This is going to be interesting. Under 15 to go when we take the green flag here.
No, only 15 laps left to go, and we're not even under green yet again. So this is going to be a short blast right to the line, and we got to also think about it as well, considering we are getting to the end of this race. how's this going to work out for the how's this going to work out if we do get some green-white checkers, which considering how hectic this race has been up to this point, I'm not going to rule that out at all. I think I'd be a fool to try and rule out some green-white checkers, and if that is the case, we're going to have to bring up that tire discussion as well, because these drivers are going to have some more restarts and some more heat cycles put into them as well. That's another point to raise talking about tire life. You think of tire wear, one thing that's always huge is heat cycling of the tires. As someone who used to do autocross with the Sports Car Club of America, you would heat cycle your tires out before you'd even wear them out. You bring them up to temperature, all those gases and all the nice chemicals that kind of make the tire sticky escape, and then you cool them back off, and then just have that going a lot. It's like blowing up a balloon for the first time. You let go, it flies around the room as the air comes out. Do that a million times, it's not going to fly around at all. So we're gonna have a good one, and we're going to choose our producer, driver of the day, the pace car driver. Yeah, that my thoughts exactly there, Howie. But we got this restart. Is it the last one? Let's wait and see. The green flag back at the drivers back on their way. Pretty good one for the 22. He's going to be leading them off on the inside line through 1 and 2. As this going to work on the mid-pack, though, I'm keeping my eyes on them to see if they have some drama on this restart. 13 coming to 12 to go, and it's looking like a clean restart. Let's see how it shakes out. Oh, right as I say that, though, I think they just wrecked.
Yes, they did. Yellow flag is down. We got 4 cars around in 2, and one of them was a key contender. I think that was the 40 of Kelly, who, remember, had that speeding penalty. I think it was a speeding penalty earlier, but he went EOL on pit road. Here's a look at the replay.
Yeah, just as I was about to pass it off to you, Marty, I caught that in the corner of my eye. The driver stacking it up, heading off into to turn number 3 and 4. That's one thing to raise. A lot of these incidents, they don't start in the corners. They start on the straightaway before them, and they just kind of snowball from there. You can see the 44 getting into the barrier, coming out of turn at number 1 and 2, and ricocheting into the number 96 on the inside. Again, another incident starts on the straight and then carries off through the corners.
Yep, absolutely. That's pretty much Bristol for you. A wreck here can pretty much last a quarter of a lap, if I were to guess. I've seen wrecks that have gone up to a half a lap at Bristol, but normally they take a quarter of a lap here. So, but this is not what Dean Brummett wants. These cautions breeding cautions here in the final laps. If this were a green to checkered run from under 15 laps to go or so, I think Brummett would have been able to pass Curhan for the win. But these cautions are what Curhan wants, is someone that is pitted for 2 tires. Oh, yes. Only 14 survivors on the lead lap, less than half. That's facts. He ain't wrong. Our producer, Howie, is not wrong. As we've got a 9-lap shootout here coming to the green flag. Does Dean Brummett have enough to have 4 beat 2, or will Curhan pull off the stunner?
Yeah, that's a very good point to raise, Marty. Talking about that strategy call from Current to take 2 tires instead of 4. As much as it may seem like a stupid call, considering this track can just eat the tires, and obviously super important to have good handling around here as well. Considering that we haven't had a long green flag run, I think the longest we've had ever since that round of pit stops has been a lap and a half. It's going to work out well for him. It's going to work out for these drivers as well, who are a little bit farther in the back, not getting involved in those incidents and cutting their way through the field like a hot knife through butter. But here we go, the green flag back at. Let's see how long it lasts this time. Current still in the race lead. Dean Brummett currently running in second, side-by-side racing between Braxton Dweez and Connor Burris, heading off through 3 and 4 right now. Jeffrey Maconi going to get involved in that action as well. Let's see how these drivers are going to go about this battle, and also going to keep our eyes all throughout this field to see if there's any sort of drama. Looking like a little bit of a wall scrape there from as we
Levi Cox.
think it was Levi Cox involved in some drama. You can see him slow on the inside. He's going to stop. Will that bring the yellow flag out? I think he's far enough removed from all the drama on the racetrack that he's going to get away with that. But we're coming to 5 to go now, and I'm not sure if these drivers are going to bring out another yellow.
Let's focus on the race up front here, because Curran's starting to pull away from Brummett, and he's got issues, though, as Connor Burris is trying to go on the attack for second pair of drivers that took 4 tires as well. Curran running away with it as we got 2 miles remaining, 4 laps to go. Some contact between Briggs and Pauken in the race for 6th.
Yeah, that's Balkan Briggs and Kiernan involved in all of that. That's some close quarter stuff for sure, but side-by-side racing going on involving Brumman and Connor Burrows. This is going to be music to the ears of Michael Kern as he continues to try and expand that gap at the front of the field, now to about 0.6 of a second. Oh, now with only a handful of laps left to go as well. Dean Brummett, he may have had a good opportunity to get it done in the 8th machine, but he's seen that opportunity slip. He's got to hope for lightning to strike and a yellow flag to come out if he wants to try and challenge Kern for the race lead. Now a lap and a half left to go. The dive down the inside from Braxton Dweez on Jeff Maconi, heading off through 3 and 4. But at the front of the field, it's Michael Kern leading it, and that gap is increasing ever still. Now 6.5 tenths between those drivers. A white flag in the air. Only one more lap of racing action for Michael Kern to try and get the move done. He's a guy who will stand that challenge, and he's going to win it at the end of this race. Michael Kern wins the monthly money race here at the ARCA cars at Bristol. Dean Brummett going to finish 0.6 of a second back in P2, but Kern made that strategy call work.
Yeah, absolutely. This was one of the drivers that was probably the best on the long run. Took the risk for 2 tires so he can get out in front. And clean air was his best friend. Kurhan gets to do some donuts here. And guess what? He gets $150 and a trophy.
Gets $150, a 3 1/3 foot tall trophy. He also gets to burn that rubber down. That 2-tire call working out super well for Kern. It looked like Dean Brummett was going to be in the catbird seat to try and grab the win, but it was a beautifully executed strategy from Kern. He was able to save up those tires well enough, and when everything is said and done, was just able to scoot away from the rest of the field to bring it home. And as he burns that car down, we may be able to have a chat with him in a couple of moments' time. Michael Kern, your winner of this monthly money race here on Maconi Entertainment for the month of March. Grab that $150 paycheck and a nice trophy in the process. Kern pulling off a fantastic strategy call to make it work at the end. I think he's got to try and find his way onto the infield potentially and end up driving that thing into victory lane. That, or I think he just got yoinked back to the pits by iRacing potentially. Either way, though, Michael Kern grabs a checkered flag at the end of it all, and I'm curious who can maybe load up the results at the end of this barn burner of a race here at Bristol, where we were expecting that strategy to make a huge difference, and when it came time for the end of this race, it certainly did. So as we see Kern pull that car into victory lane, let's take a look at Kern, the Texan, behind the wheel of the 22 car, drives it into victory lane when everything is said and done. 6.5 tenths being the difference between himself and Dean Brummett in P2. Connor Burrows going to round out your podium in 3rd. Jeffrey Maconi crosses the line in 4th, fittingly in the number 4 machine. Braxton Dweez going to finish in 5th. Cole Palkin in 6th. A very good recovery drive, must be said, from the driver of the 17 car. Got involved in an incident earlier on, but he makes his way back up to 6th. Andrew Kiernan going to finish in 7th. Jeremy Briggs in 8th. Curtis Kelly on a nice recovery drive himself ends up in 9th, with Pat Faro rounding out your top 10.
Moving over to 11th through 20th, you've got Eric Thomas, the final car on the lead lap in 11th. Taylor Alto 3 laps down in 12th. Brandon Combs 4 laps down in 13th. Levi Cox in 14th. Kerry Pasuto 15th. Aiden Oxidine in 16th. Jake Doffing 17th. Dal Bowen in 18th. David Imai in 19th spot. And Alex Wiggins rounding out the top 20.
And looking through the drivers that we have outside the top 20, a lot of these drivers ran into some difficulties in this rather hectic race. Mike Rimkus was one of them in the 425 machine, ends up 67 laps down. Jacob Yoder ran into some troubles along with Jacob D. Ryan, William Carr in the 2nd, Nick King. James Pileski ends up in 26th. Matthew C. White in 27th. Brad Lane ends up in 28th. Brandon Enstrom in 29th. Jaden Park rounds out your top 30, and only I believe that'll just about do it for all the cars. You can see them. They were 101 laps down, which is not the best result in the world in a 100-lap long race. Waiting for some more drivers to potentially join us here on this broadcast and pop their way over into the interview waiting area. But, man, Marty, we were expecting that race to be hectic. We certainly got it, but that was still a barn burner from start to finish.
Really was. Really a race of strategy at the end. We saw some close racing throughout the pack, but like really the big challenge was up front before and after the yellow flag, and through the pit stop, the 22 able to pull things off and take the win.
And looking through, we got Dean Brummett waiting up there in the interview waiting area. We'll drag him in by the callers, have a quick little chat with him. Actually, right as I say that, though, we do have we do have Michael Curran joining us there, and along with Jeff Maconi. So everyone clearly filing in. Right as I said that Dean Brummett was the only one there in the interview waiting area, I think I'm going to give myself the spoils of having a chat with Michael Curran at the end of this race. Michael, congratulations on the win here at Bristol tonight, and well done on not only a brilliant strategy, but holding off the challenge towards the end of this race. Talk us through it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ron. I was a little nervous taking two with so many laps being on the left side tires, but the car was really tight all race. So I was trying to manage that throughout the race, not push too hard for most of it, but with a caution that late in the going, I figured it was the right call to take two and try and loosen the car up. And it's exactly what the car needed. The car was a rocket ship from there, and I was still surprised I was able to pull away from the top two or three guys, but it seemed to work out. So yeah, really surprised, but really happy it worked out that way.
And as we were seeing that strategy call work out for you, and the late race chaos that we had as well, with a couple of yellows breaking up that run to the checkered flag, we were kind of thinking that those yellow flags were maybe playing into your hand a little bit. Was that the case, or were those yellows actually a bit of a hindrance to you?
No, absolutely. I was hoping for cautions. It's kind of why I took two, hoping we just kind of have back-to-back cautions. Then we did, but then we had that kind of late the last 10 or so laps to the end. So that last run really made me nervous. Actually, I was hoping for cautions, but again, I was surprised I was kind of pulling away from the leaders. So again, yeah, it just worked out that way. I was hoping for more cautions, but it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out very well for you right at the end of this, and clearly a fan of this ARCA and Bristol combination. But we're going to be amping up a little bit for the next round of these monthly money races. Next time out for these events, it'll be on April the 25th with the Xfinity cars at Daytona. So, are you going to be a part of that event? And if so, what are your thoughts heading into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what's so fun with these Fast Friday events. It's a different combination, car and track every time. So yeah, it just keeps all the drivers on their toes. But yeah, I mean, that combination, man, that's such a wild card. Anyone can win those races. So it'll be anyone's game, anyone's race with that. So looking forward to it. Should be fun, and I'm sure action packed as well. So.
And I'm certainly going to be looking forward to it as a commentator as well. And fingers crossed we'll see you out there on the racetrack in about a month's time, Michael. But before we let you go and celebrate this win and put in that order for that customized trophy at the end of tonight, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Jeff Maconi, first of all, for putting this together. It's a great little program event that he has going with this. So Jeff Maconi Entertainment, Maconi Setup Shop, that whole gang for putting all this together. And then, I want to give a quick shout out to Area iRacing, fantastic league that I'm a part of as well. Would invite everyone to check that one out, and then friends and family that support me, that help me do what I love here on the sim and race and battle for wins.
Awesome, man. Always got to shout out the family at the end of the interviews, doubly so when you bring home a nice little paycheck and some trophies as well. But Michael Curran, thank you so much for joining us here in the commentary booth, and congratulations on the win here at Bristol.
Yeah, thank you guys up in the booth. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you.
And that right there was Michael Curran, your winner at the end of this race here at Bristol. And Marty, I'll let you take dibs on who you want to have a chat with.
Let's, as we go through the results once again, I would say our second place finisher, Dean Brummett. I'll let you take Jeff at the end. Dean, it's Marty up here in the booth. Great run for you tonight. Did you expect Michael to go for two tires, or did that surprise you?
I'm still baffled as much as anybody watching, to be honest with you. Come in on that pit stop, and I mean, he had caught me there under green. I wasn't running as hard as I could, just trying to save just a little bit for when the high lane came in, and he got to me and threw it up there high. And about that point of the run, I mean, the high line felt better than the low line, and thought I could hold them off. And so we come in, we pit, we get 4. Because I mean, I thought that would have been the run there, but I don't know if that was something he had practiced, figured out, or something. But yeah, that 2-tire stop did him wonders. I mean, my car was so tight after the stop, just I couldn't do anything. And then you keep getting the cautions, just ticking laps off. And if there was going to be a tire fall off and come back to me, I didn't have the laps for it, and tried to do everything I could to build some momentum towards him. But even on that 2 tires, like I said, I mean, he just walked away. I'm kind of shocked right now, I'll be honest with you.
Other than what positives do you take away out of this?
Well, Bristol's always my favorite track, so any laps I can run there are always fun. Just hard. I don't know, man. It's second sucks, but it just I mean, hopefully have some momentum for whatever the next one may be, and maybe get to run it, and hopefully get it done next time. I'm sorry. I know it sounds bland, but I'm shocked right now. I cannot wrap my head around it.
It's all good, understandable. Who do you want to give shout outs to though on the run?
Well, just want to give a shout out here to Jeff for putting the show on, and definitely want to give a shout out to my wife for letting me run this race, and my family who's watching the race back home, and just thank you guys for the great broadcast that you put on, and hopefully we'll like I said, hopefully we'll come back, do a little better next time.
All right, Dean, we'll let you go. Great job tonight. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.
And that right there was our P2 finisher, Dean Brummett. Obviously a little bit bummed after all of that, but hey, you only need to make up one more spot to be able to bring home the checkered flag. I'm sure that he'll be in contention for that Xfinity race at Daytona. There's no question about that. But before we wrap up the show, obviously I have to have a chat with the boss man himself, Mr. Jeff Maconi, who is now joining us in the commentary booth. Jeff, welcome in. That was a rather hectic one here at Bristol. How about you talk us through being involved in that hornet's nest?
Yeah, it was crazy from start to finish. We had a decent, I think it was like a 10-lap run right at the beginning, or a 5-lap run right at the beginning, and then it was just caution after caution after caution. So it pretty much became, if you started on the inside, you'd lose a spot, and then you'd restart on the outside next time, and your goal was to gain at least 2 spots each time. So I started 9th, worked my way up to, I think, like 4th at one point, fell back to 8th on the long run. And when I pit, I was about to take 2 tires. I was all set and ready to do it, and then I was like, it's not the right move. So I took 4, and I'm really kicking myself for not taking 2, because I probably would have been able to give Michael at least something to, worry about. But yeah, when we took those 4 tires, it was just really, really tight, which is not at all what we were expecting. I imagine Dean said the same thing. It just was so ridiculously tight. So then at the end, it was just survive and get through it. And I mean, from 9th to 4th and ARCA at Bristol, I will absolutely take that.
Yeah, it's still a pretty damn good drive from you regardless at the end of this race. And we'll say, kind of talking about the difference between the likes of Michael Curran taking 2 tires and yourself and Dean taking 4. We were hearing from Michael how that loosened up the car just exactly how he wanted. So I guess it was, the 2 tires were the smart call at the end, not only saving time down pit lane, but actually making it up out there on the track as well. But harkening our minds back here on Maconi Entertainment to a couple of months ago, when we were actually, I say a couple of weeks ago, I should say, when we were doing the new content clash to bring in this new iRacing season. I remember doing that broadcast, and right towards the end of it, after the ARCA Charlotte race, you immediately came in and say, you know what, screw the mini stocks, we're doing the ARCA cars around here.
Yeah, we talked about it internally. And the mini stocks are cool and all, but the ARCA cars are just so much fun. I mean, they're really, really fun cars to drive. So I think it was definitely the right call. Mini stocks will definitely be on the season or on the schedule next season. I can say that with confidence. But it was sort of a no-brainer with how fun these ARCA cars really are.
I'm personally voting that we can see a mini stock race at the Nordschleife. That would be imagine doing a lap guide around that. It would take up the first 38 minutes of the broadcast. But Jeff, I'll say one more thing. Marty and I kind of came up with this theory before the broadcast. Was part of the reasoning about switching it to the ARCA car was to maybe get a bit more seat time before some real life adventures coming up?
Well, more seat time certainly does not hurt. I've been doing a lot of AI races at Nashville Fairgrounds, and I mean, realistically speaking, it is my first ever start in an ARCA car, so that's gonna, I'm gonna take at least a couple races to really learn the ropes. And when smaller teams are going up against the Venturinis and the Gibbs and those larger teams with the Ilmore motors, it's really an uphill battle. So I have no delusions about how I will perform at Nashville. We're running the full race, which definitely gives us a leg up on the starting parks. So if I go out there and I'm 20 laps down at the end of the night, well, I'm 20 laps down at the end of the night. That's it. We're not going out there with any delusions of grandeur. I'm going to go out, and my goal is to learn. Really hopefully earn some respect from the other drivers, and so when they come around and lap me, and that is going to happen, I'm low, I'm out of the way, I'm consistent, and they don't have to worry. That's my goal there, and really just to learn every possible thing that I can for the next couple races, because I do plan on running more. It's always pending funding, of course, but if the first race goes well and I don't have to pay a crash clause, knock on wood, fingers crossed, everything, I would love to run more races. I have a couple circled for later in the year, and who knows where this will all go. Maybe I'll run, 20 races in my career. Maybe I'll run just the one. I have no idea. Maybe I'll run 1,000. I don't know where it's all going to go, but I am going to have fun with every single lap that I turn. I can say that with certainty.
I will say, if you make the start at Pocono, I may need to make a trip up there from the city of Philadelphia to make my way up there.
I am not anywhere close to ready for green flag racing at anything like Pocono. That's just insanity. ARCA also has an approval process, so when you first start, especially with limited experience like I have, I'm approved for everything under a mile. So I can test at Kansas, I can test at Daytona, I can't race there without applying for approval. And I will probably not do that. Some of the other races I'm looking at would be Iowa. I would love to run that. Flat Rock would be very cool. Toledo would be very cool. But I'm also lucky enough going into this. I lost my audio driver there. Sorry about that. I'm lucky enough going into this at the age that I am, and with the understanding that this is not going to be a lifetime career. It's not like I have to race to continue my career. It's something I'm doing to prove that I can and to see how well I can stack up. I'm able to pick and choose races, so I can sell Bridget, my longtime girlfriend, on going and running Nashville. It'll be a much harder sell to run multiple super speedways. I think I'll probably do one and say that's enough for me. We'll see, but yeah, it's definitely very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how I do. If I can go out and beat a couple cars, then that's a win for me.
Well, I'll tell you right away, Jeff, if you end up running Toledo, let me know so I can give you some recommendations of hotels to avoid out there. Because, oh boy, went out there once back in 2021, and some of the stuff I saw at the hotels is stuff that I cannot say on the air. But, Jeff, thank you for joining us in the interview, in the commentary booth. Always good to have a chat with you. And before we let you go and get some sponsors together for the ARCA race, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the whole Maconi Setup Shop crew, our customers, the team members, everyone here at Maconi Entertainment, it's amazing what everyone is... What I'm most proud of with Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment is the autonomy that everyone has. Everyone knows their role, and they are very, very good at doing it. And you guys can attest to it. I am a very hands-off manager because I know you guys are the best of the best, and you always do a phenomenal job. And I'm very grateful for all of that. In no particular order, because they all are incredible people. Bruzy Racewear, for coming on board. Big Fish Barbecue, 4K Motorsports. I am so excited for everyone that's going to be on the car. I'm going to be around. I live in Clarksville, Tennessee, so I'm going to go on Friday, May 2nd to some of the local schools, and then we're going to go over to Fort Campbell as well and hang out with the soldiers, let them sign the car and do some cool stuff on base there. So lots of cool stuff. So everyone involved, I am beyond grateful for. So thank you to all of them and for everyone that's jumping on board.
Yeah, also, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack in the not too far off future. But Jeff, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth, and always good to have a chat with you at the end of these races.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
You too. That right there was Jeff Maconi, the boss man himself, and soon to be real life ARCA racer. But Marty had some great racing action here from the ARCA cars at Bristol, but the Xfinity race at Daytona, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Xfinity at Daytona never disappoints. All we just have to say is Xfinity at Daytona. That's, what could be better than that? You've got 2 wide, 3 wide. These cars are so good at drafting. I love racing these cars on iRacing, and we should be in for a treat the next time we have Fast Fridays.
And of course, that's going to be coming up, as you can see on screen, on April 25th here on Maconi Entertainment. Always here to bring the action to life. And hey, outside this broadcast, we still got a whole lot of action for you pretty much every single week. In fact, coming up tomorrow, we've got some action from the full-length Cup Challenge at Martinsville. That's going to be a fun broadcast. It's going to be a long one as well. That starts at 8:30 my time here on the East Coast of the U.S., and I'm fully expecting that broadcast to run well into the wee hours of the morning. So if you'd like to see me have a conversation with my sleep paralysis demon and be a part of that broadcast with JP, Mr. Justin Prince here at Maconi Entertainment, stay tuned for that broadcast in about 24 hours time. That does even end it for the action. We got the Goat Locker Racing Series on Wednesday nights and just a whole lot of stuff here on Maconi Entertainment. Gives you a good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action. But as for this broadcast tonight here on Maconi Entertainment, that will just about do it. And so for myself, Ron Mullins, Marty Zaccala joining me in the commentary booth, and Howie Burrows doing a fantastic job working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you all so very much for watching this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
There is a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is partnered with more real-world tracks and companies, including Junior Motorsports, than any other group on the iRacing service.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.